So, with the newest iteration of global warfare, with Israel and Iran now, uh, going at each other, the question remains: is this the path to peace? Is this a solution, or are we only paving the way to destruction? The reality is that with Israel and Iran, both of these countries are much more equipped and much more, able to go head to head, as opposed to Israel versus Palestine, where Israel fully overpowers them, or even Russia versus Ukraine, where Russia fully overpowers Ukraine. But the reality is that with the proxies and both Israel's support as well as Iran's support from neighboring and distant nations such as the US with Israel and China with Iran, this conflict looks to be one that could spiral out of control very easily. But I think the reality is that instead of focusing on whether this becomes World War III, we should realize that cheering for either side in this conflict is not going to solve any issues. First of all, in this conflict between Israel and Iran, the main goal that Israel claims is that they are trying to deplete Iran's nuclear capacity, as well as destroy its chances at creating a functional nuclear weapon, because they claim this is in the best interest of other nations, including the United States. However, despite many people not believing in this, there is a lot of support for them, or at least for this specific task that they have, with multiple European nations like France and Italy reiterating their support for the dismantling of Iran's nuclear program. And now it seems like the US might get involved, which only poses more threats to the Middle East and regional stability. On the other hand, Iran, obviously seeing as they think they were attacked first, are now committed, seemingly, to destroying the Zionist regime and inflicting as much pain and terror onto the population of Israel as Israel has done to the Palestinians and to the neighboring regions. And when you look at it this way, you basically realize that these are nations that don't see eye to eye, but both are full of hatred for each other, and this is only going to lead to more problems if it is not understood. We need to understand that with these conflicts, you're never going to solve problems. They only lead to more defensive responses, more outrage, and when you look at how humans respond physically to defense and outrage, it's just with more violence. And that's why all this does is perpetuate violence. All it does is increase the cycles of violence, carry them on. It doesn't solve the issues. And for that reason, we need to realize that the last thing we need in the world right now is more countries going at each other, especially countries as well equipped as these two. Whether either country wins is not the concern. The concern at this point is to cease the hostilities and to ensure that other countries don't get involved, because at the end of the day, in wars, civilian populations are the ones that suffer the most. And in this case, they already are suffering. And that's just the reality of this conflict. Civilian populations suffer the most. The leaders get to hide in their bunkers, full Wi-Fi, amenities, while their people committed to their land, yes, maybe potentially indoctrinated or conditioned to believe in a certain way, are still just human beings.